Hey, how you doing? I'm Adam Post, publisher of College of the Dead, publisher of The Mermaids, publisher of G.I. Jackrabbits, publisher of more than 1,000 independent comic books, really proud independent publisher focused on the Comicsgate network. And there's a lot going on with comic book stores today, a lot going on in terms of basically the collapse of comic book stores. Comic book stores are not going to completely all go out of business, but a lot of them are going to definitely go out of business. And the number one comic book distributor, the main comic book distributor, Diamond, has just started furloughing, which is layoffs, furloughing employees beginning today. Now, Diamond is owned by one man, Steve Geppi, and Steve Geppi really pretty much controls distribution to comic book stores. There are 1,900 some comic book stores, a lot of them smaller than others. Probably 20% of the comic book stores that are out there are 80% of the business, the old Pareto principle. If you don't know what that is, 80% comes from 20%. Google that out. You're going to love the Pareto principle. Maybe we'll do a video on it one day. Anyways, so let's talk about Diamond furloughing these employees, what it means for comic books and what it means for comic book stores. First, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Click the bell for notifications. We are just about at 1,000 subscribers. You are making that difference. Sounds good, but it's true. All right, so this is coming from Bleeding Cool, and working on the edge of rumor and fact, as Bleeding Cool often is. They do get a lot of stuff wrong, but they have some interesting news. So, look, yes, Diamond is starting to lay off employees. Furlough is the same as lay off. Rich Johnson, who writes most of these articles, is from the UK, and they use word like furloughs. We're using it here in the US as well from time to time, and Diamond, what they're doing is they're just essentially saying, look, we can't use a lot of the people that do a lot of the work and a lot of the labor to unbox boxes, to rebox boxes, to sort comic books. I mean, that's a lot of labor. It takes a lot of human beings to physically unbox and repackage and pick and pack and sort. They actually have a really advanced facility in... where the hell is it? Well, in the South, I think it's in Mississippi, where it's just this huge facility where they sort all the comics, and they have other locations that they have drop-off points, but and it's advanced, but it's very people-oriented. It's very labor-oriented. You need a lot of people to physically move and track and take in all those products. So while Diamond is not receiving new comics, while they're not receiving new books, what do they need all these people for? Now, these people that are being laid off, some of them may go on to other jobs or whatever. Some of them, may never come back. Probably a lot of them are going to come back. Steve Geppi is very sophisticated in business. He's been doing business for a very long time. He owns a piece of the Baltimore Orioles, and he's very well aware that the government of the United States has very generous unemployment programs that they're putting in place now. So a guy like Steve Geppi has to look at it and say, hey, why am I going to pay these guys to sit home when the government could be paying them unemployment and, he's not losing all that money on lost salary. Still, it's terrible when people lose jobs, and it would be great if they could keep them, and it's demoralizing. It's going to be very difficult for people, but probably they're all going to get compensated on unemployment. So this happened after Steve Geppi announced that Diamond would no longer accept new comic books from publishers, even stuff that was already pre-ordered, as of the week of April 1st. That was really, really odd as a publisher seeing Diamond do that. So what is the significance of this? It just means that the comic book stores are not coming back anytime soon. He would not, Steve Geppi would not be laying people off just to bring them back the following week. So they're hunkering down probably for at least a month to 2 months before they would have people back. And unemployment's going to last that long for them, I'm sure. He's probably been in communication with all the employees as well. If you look at any of the statements that Diamond has put out, they're pretty well organized in all this. It's not really haphazard. And I'd be surprised if there wasn't already a 3-month plan, like greatly detailed with tremendous financing and also incorporating in like what they know the government will do for employees, what the government will do for comic book stores. Obviously, comic book stores are all small businesses. So are they going to be getting, small business loans and what? They probably will. They'll probably get tons of extensive small business loans, thanks to the United States government, which will then be waived as long as they follow the instructions that are part of borrowing that money. It's all very technical stuff. But that said, yes, there are going to be a lot of comic book stores that leave the business. A lot have already announced that they're leaving the business. And there's been also a lot of talk with comic book stores trying to fix the business, fix some of the problems that were there in the first place that made the stores so weak that they couldn't survive, even when it was 2 weeks worth of no new comics. The stores were freaking out. As well they should. They're small businesses, and they're all at the mercy of publishers. Now, this is something I wanted to point out because I don't like this at all. I don't like this in the least. This is dangerous. So this new comic books. Get that? Do you know who Gary Gnu is? If you do, put it in the comments below. This is a store in Ontario, and I hope this doesn't catch on, where they're saying, hey, if you donate $100 to us, we'll give you $200 in credit. If it's smaller numbers, they'll give you smaller amounts of credit. But the problem is, these stores are not financially stable. So they should not be collecting money from consumers and then promising, if you give, this is what you call like a Ponzi scheme. You should not be saying, give me $100 today. When we reopen, we'll give you back $200 worth of comics. Like that exactly is a Ponzi scheme, exactly how Ponzi arranged it, where you would give him cash and then in 3 months, he would give you back like 50% or twice the amount. That is not what should happen. All right. So, I don't know if they've limited the program. I don't know if this guy is personally guaranteeing the amounts that you take. For example, if someone in a business says, listen, I'm going to give you a gift card. So go ahead and give me, $2,000 and I'll give you a gift card for $5,000 and you can use it back at my store or in my business anytime you want. Fine. So, but that gift card, it's a civil obligation. And if it's determined that it was a scam or a scam, that would be potentially criminal. Things like this, it's not trivial to take money from customers in advance and make promises to them because there could be so much abuse for something like this. So if you're part of a local comic book store and you want to support your local comic store, support them, but don't do it in some type of scheme like this where you're going to put money out and they get more money later back in credit. Who knows if the business is even going to exist? But if you were even considering something like this, see if someone's going to personally guarantee it, which is to say that even if the business goes out of business, they would personally guarantee that you would pay back or you could sue them in court, them personally. It's not automatic. So, but I don't like this at all. If you want to donate money to a store, donate money to a store. But you do a lot better if you want to support comic books backing College Day, Graduation Day, or any college. Well, this one really primarily because it's mine, but really primarily support people that are passionate about making comics that are in a good enough business situation they can take care of themselves. If you give this guy $5,000, it looks like he's trying to raise $5,000, Brendan Tehane, to cover their monthly rent. For how many months, I have no idea. But if you want to give him $5,000 to pay his rent, by all means, do it. But I don't even know why the hell he's This is just really not appropriate, and this should not be featured by Bleeding Cool. But Bleeding Cool are a weird bunch of guys. I actually do have a plan that would save the comic book store industry, and I decided I was not going to talk about it because it's something I've had like since back in the early 1990s, and it would work. And I don't. The thing is, it relies on trust, and it relies on something like a credit. And I don't trust the comic book publishers to implement it right. I actually do trust Steve Geppi would do what he's supposed to do, but I don't trust Marvel. I don't trust DC or Image. I think that they're malicious people that are in charge of most of those companies now that are just putting out weird self-serving propaganda. I'll tell you 2 bits of it, a tiny piece of it. See if you get an idea of it. They can't implement it without what I've already thought through. So it's not going to happen. None of this is going to happen. But imagine if Marvel and DC created their own currency with their own characters and they were collectible. So instead of GNU saying, hey, give me $100, I'll give you credit to be spent at GNU. If instead you gave him $100 and he was giving you back $100 full face value, $100 worth of Spider-Man currency, of Batman currency, collectible currencies like collectible stamps, that could be used as money in comic book stores and could also be like this, resold on eBay. This is an old out of circulation Disney dollar. Disney used to do this in their theme parks. They stopped it. But it was cool. You'd go to Disney, you'd give them cash. They give you back dollar for dollar a credit that you could use this currency with. And you could use it for in the park, and then you would leave to go home. Like you could cash them in like chips at a casino if you wanted to, or you could keep them as collectibles, and they're cool and they're fun. So could stores be doing this right now? Yeah, they could. What would happen? Well, a lot of collectors would get a lot of cool currency, and then Marvel and DC would figure out a way to screw them on it. So is it doable? It's absolutely doable. It would add maybe $20 or $30 million worth of working capital to the industry, especially in this difficult time, because collectors could go out of pocket. They'd get this one-of-a-kind thing. They could spend, they could keep some of them. However, I don't trust these guys, and I'm not giving them the rest of the plan. And they need to pull themselves out of this if they're going to pull themselves out of it. And I wish them luck. And I would support comic book stores if I could in any way that I can. But this is not the way to do it. Do not donate money to this GNU Comics or New Comics and anticipating giving credit. If you want to give a free donation to them or anyone else, do it. But don't get involved in those wacky transactions. And yeah, if this was sponsored properly, this could pull the industry out or at least cover it for 2, 3, maybe even 6 months. There's plenty of people with money that would support comics that would create value with something like this. Now, speaking of value, not much more valuable than College of Dead Graduation Day. It is a phenomenal book. It's 48 pages. It's full color. It's done. It's the continuation of an ongoing series. You can get the first book. You can get the current book. And we're also working right now on College of Dead Spring Break, which is the next book in the series. And the continuity is maintained. It's a fantastic story. It's tremendous artwork. You don't want to miss this book. Definitely check this book out. I'll put the link to this campaign in the description below so you can check it out. And yeah, it's got 23 days left. It's going fantastic. Everybody's already supported it. I know you guys listen to these videos too. I really appreciate your support. I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.